Thanks very much for tuning in to Unmissable. I'm Nabila Jamal. I take you through news from India and across the globe. Our top story tonight, India is eyeing the Olympics, but one embarrassment after the other. Elite athletes who are currently in India have decided to withdraw from the games. In fact, world number 2 badminton player says he wants to withdraw because he can't tolerate the Delhi pollution. He was even willing to pay a fine of $5,000. But he's withdrawn, saying conditions in India is not good enough. There's a lot more embarrassment. I'm going to spell that out for you with our panelists on whether India is really ready. What's up with our sports infrastructure when we're aiming at the Olympics? The precursor does not give a good picture. And also in our top story tonight, we're going to take you through a story of an employee who's literally narrated what's happened to his career in the last 5 years. He started off with a base salary of 25,000. 5 years later, he's exactly right there. In fact, it's dipped a little. It's become 22,000. No promotion, no increment. Is this the story in most parts of India? What really is this one? We're going to explain that for you. And also our top story on day tonight, toxic water is indeed the reason for the death of nearly 15 people in Indore. A report has surfaced. We're going to take you through details of that. Headlines first. India urges its nationals in Iran to leave immediately amid the escalating unrest. Indian embassy warns against all travel to the country until further notice, asking Indians to contact the embassy if they're unable to reach their families. Kolkata High Court disposes of the TMC plea seeking preservation of IPAC data after ED says nothing was seized. ED alleges Mamta obstructed investigation and took away all the documents. Inhaler nebulizer demand soars of up to 60% in Delhi during the winter season and due to air quality dipping. We're looking at nebulizers and inhalers. Demand for it has risen by 60%. Survey shows children asking for one instrument the most. After weeks of uncertainty post the Stampede incident, the Karnataka government is likely to permit RCB matches at Chinnaswamy Stadium under strict conditions though. High-level police KSCA talks signal a conditional green light with tighter security and crowd control measures that will be in place. Political storm in Kerala as authorities halt temporary bridge work on the Bharatpura river for Kumbh Mela. BJP accuses the state government of anti-Hindu bias. The CBI summons TDK chief Vijay for second time of questioning on Jan 19th in the Karur Stampede case. Vijay deferred earlier date citing Pongal. He's now got to be back in Delhi on the 19th for a second round of questioning. Iran warns US allies of strike if Washington launches an attack on Iran amid the escalating protests, urges Saudi Arabia, UAE and Turkey to restrain Washington. Trump pushes for Greenland takeover, says anything less than US control of Greenland is unacceptable, calls the territory vital for national security. Right. India is looking at hosting the Olympics soon, but one embarrassment after the other. India wants to host the Olympic Games in the country, but just as that ambition gets louder, the country is now facing one embarrassment after another, with international athletes openly calling out poor infrastructure and unsafe playing conditions. The latest comes from Denmark's top badminton star. In fact, world number 2 badminton player, Anders Antonsen, has withdrawn from the Games in India for the third straight year. Antonsen has pulled out of the India Open Super 750 in New Delhi, and he's made his reasons very clear, and that too put out a whole story on his Instagram, made it public, and says that people are curious as to why I withdrew, but it's clear that the air is not compatible. It's not right for me to play. For elite sport is not fit to happen in this condition, in this weather condition, or in this level of pollution. It's hard to play, and therefore I withdraw. This is rare and blunt, a world-class athlete who's putting out his ordeal in public and also is willing to pay a $5,000 fine. In fact, he's not the only one. To make it worse, fellow Danish player Mia Blichfeldt has also criticized the conditions at the Indira Gandhi Indoor Stadium, which is currently hosting the India Open this year. And the venue was shifted first from the KD Jadhav Hall with the upcoming World Badminton Championships in August, keeping that in mind. So expectations were high, but according to Mia, she says that they have not been met. The expectations were not met. She describes this stadium also is dirty, is unhealthy. She says players were forced to warm up indoors wearing winter jackets, gloves in multiple layers due to cold, damp and poorly regulated conditions. She says it's not because of the cold outside, but it's just that inside the stadium, the conditions have not been regulated well and it's just not fit for the game to happen. These remarks have revived long-standing concerns about maintenance, ventilation, temperature control and hygiene at Indian sports venues, especially indoor arenas. The Badminton Association of India, though, has pushed back. Secretary General Sanjay Mishra has said that Mia's comments were about general discomfort and about her personal health sensitivities, not the tournament venue in itself, saying that the venue is fine. Also, you had Indian players like PV Sindhu and Kidambi Srikanth who came out to defend the playing conditions in Delhi. They said that it is fine. But the timing of all of this controversy is questionable because India pitches itself as a future Olympic host. Global scrutiny is unavoidable. Sporting bodies and athletes, as we see clearly, don't judge by just saying that you're prepared, but they want to look at real conditions on the ground. And the feedback that these international players are giving on the publicly is not very impressive and certainly tarnishes India's image as a sporting arena. We're not well equipped or well prepared. Olympic dreams at this point we continue to have, but it seems like the effort on the ground has not been matched. Let's listen to what PV Sindhu and a few other players said, though, defending the venue in Delhi.
I heard that the World Championships also are going to be held here. So I think it's a good trial in a way, I would say. And overall, it's a very big stadium. So, I mean, the facilities are fine. I mean, on court, I think when we are playing, I think it's fine. Yeah.
Every country has its own conditions. You know, you go to, say, countries like, say, Singapore, there'll be a lot of drift. And then you go to Malaysia, probably a little lesser. And then another countries like Indonesia, they've made it, the stadium has become, they've renovated it, but earlier it used to be really compact and then it used to be really fast and all of it. So every country has its own challenge and yeah, I am just very happy to be playing here again.
All right, let's bring in our guests on board to give us a little more on how big of an embarrassment is this for India. We have Mahavir Rawat, sports journalist, and Shekhar Vijayan, sports commentator. Thanks both of you for joining us. Mahavir, your take on this. Is this a big embarrassment or will we tide past this? Will we still project a strong front before the Olympics body?
No, what I want to understand is what is normal. So, you know, the definition of normal is different for normal people. Just say, you know, there was a film in Amir Khan which says that, you know, हर किसी का अपना एक normal होता है. So what is the normal? You know, someone is stopping me in a traffic police and I am paying 1,000 rupees to the traffic police and he's allowing me to go. I'm happy, he's happy, everyone is happy. That's a normal. You go to New Zealand, there is nothing like this. So playing in AQI of 300 is normal for us. I mean, you and me living in an AQI of 800 is okay for us. And if you say anything, we become anti-national. But a player from Switzerland, Denmark, I mean, these are supposed to be the top, you know, the Nordic countries which are supposed to be the best in the world in case of temperature, in case of environment, in case of happiness. Now, their normal is like 10 AQI is hazardous for their health, even 10.
We have 300, 400, 500 going up to 900. We manage,
and that's normal.
We deal with it in Delhi, but people coming from outside find it horrendous.
Horrendous.
Suffocating.
I don't,
yeah.
So I'm thank God that they are from different countries, because had they been from India, they would have told that these are anti-nationals, and so something like that. So let's understand, they are players. They come from a condition. They expect a condition, and which they are not. So we don't expect them to express themselves in favor of India. And I think we should have organized in a way in October or in March, February, where the AQI is better. So we could have done a much better job in organizing. And forget about Badminton Association of India, one association that has failed time. And just imagine a period when Saina Nehwal, PV Sindhu, everyone is there, and look at where we are now. We don't have a second. PV Sindhu, 2016, 2020, 2024. If she would have been in China, playing 2 Olympics in China is a great record. We don't have anyone pushing her right now. So the government has told her to come out and defend this AQI system. I mean, let's not. This is just one of the many things that is happening in the world of sports, where we want to be seen in a certain way, but the world standards are. So, I'm so sorry, but the world standards are very different from what we expect them to.
We have Nikhil Jain, who also joins as a political analyst. Nikhil Jain, does this expose politically the government ahead of Olympics? We are hoping to be a great venue. India is really preparing and gearing up. I mean, this ideally should not be a deterrent, but it certainly damages India's global image. If big international athletes, you have Anderson, who's world #2, if he's putting out such messages in public, and I'm hoping at least with this, public memory is short-lived, just for the fact that I don't want India's name to be tarnished like that. But unfortunately, it has. And what does this really speak of the government then? We are tom-tomming about having the best, and we're moving forward, and this is what we're gearing up for. But the ground reality is something else. Mahavir?
Nabila, I think
Mahavir wants to make a point. I'll take him.
I want to say one thing. No, I don't want to bring in India here. I just want to bring the Badminton Association of India. It's a federation which needs to be changed. I know Hemanta Biswa Sarma is right on the top, but he's so much into Assam, and he's doing such a good job in Assam. But he's the vice president, but he has put his associates over here. Had this been in Bhubaneswar, why do you want to be in Delhi? I don't understand this concept of holding tournaments from November to February in Delhi.
Correct.
Hold it in Bombay.
Yeah.
Today there is a match going between India and New Zealand. It is
No,
not
I
happening
totally
in Delhi.
agree. And that said, even the Germany Chancellor landed in Ahmedabad, not in Delhi. Then he went to Karnataka and elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So why do you want? So why is this option? So I'm not blaming India. India is still there, but I am saying Badminton Association of India should have been more proactive about the planning of the event. And if they have wanted it, there is Bhubaneswar, there is Ahmedabad, there is Madhya Pradesh. There are so many places. It's an indoor. For God's sake, it's an indoor. Let's give them a better indoor facilities.
But whatever said, yeah, exactly. Because it's indoor, you expect better air quality. I don't know if it's possible for an indoor stadium to have that many air purifiers. And just the basic upkeep of the venue. I'm just shocked that you have a player, we are showing her images there, Mia on the screen, saying that it's so, inside the venue, inside the stadium, it's so cold and there's barely upkeep and any maintenance. She says there's dung and poop in places. It's embarrassing, right? We don't want India's image to be this, not after so many years of progress that we've had.
But it's normal for us.
Yeah, let's bring in Nikhil Jain.
Nabila, you asked a question to me that what does it show about the attitude of the government? I think it shows on your very panel right now that you have a top international player making such a scathing allegation, and the government should be sitting here trying to fix the problem. Forget fixing the problem. They don't even bother to defend it. They don't even bother to be held accountable. They will not come to a news debate show in India to talk about the pathetic issue of sports administration in India. You have the Secretary General of the Badminton Association saying, no, she's complaining about her personal problems and personal hygiene problems. Yeah. See, I'll be very practical. If she has some problem because of Delhi's cold, Honestly, that's her personal problem. If she has a problem because of Delhi's pollution, I wish we could fix it, but let's be practical. We can't fix Delhi's pollution in a day. But the sports administration, the Badminton Federation can certainly fix the problem of birds flying in an indoor arena. They can certainly fix the problem of bird poop on the court. These are abysmal standards. On one hand, the government likes to claim that we are Vishwaguru and we are not behind any first world country. But when you have international players making remarks like this on the international stage, you are essentially showing to the world that we are a third world country. But I'll tell you what the difference between this government and the previous governments was. And I'm not making a Congress BJP point. I'm just talking about this government versus the previous governments. When in the past anybody criticized the Indian government like that, the governments would come and say, oh, sorry, it would be an embarrassment. Heads would roll, ISS would get suspended, some minister would have to come and apologize, and some measure of fixes would happen. Some of them would be knee jerk, but at least some measure of fixes would happen. Right now, there is absolutely zero accountability. They will just shrug it off, hush it away. Oh, nothing happened. Sab changa si. And this is the problem. Till the time we have this attitude, we will never be able to fix all that is wrong with our country, whether it is badminton, whether it is the situation of sports in general, or the other important issues that plague the public at large, whether it is rail safety, aviation safety. Nothing. The government just does not want to be held accountable, and that is the biggest problem.
Shekhar Vijayan, what do you see here? Are Indian federations becoming too defensive? Instead of actual work, they're becoming defensive. We saw PV Sindhu who said, no, conditions are fine. Then you had Kidambi Srikanth also who defended it. So Indian players are used to it. They are blinded to, crow, shit or poop. They don't think much of it. I don't think much of it. I'm really okay to see a pigeon poop around because we're used to it. But they're not. International athletes are not.
Not on the badminton court.
Okay, exactly. Not on the badminton court.
On the badminton court, yeah. See, Nabila, thank you for having me over. The two players you mentioned. There's one particular player who was even willing to pay $5,000.
Yeah.
Which just goes to show how embarrassing it is for India. And I really feel bad about this. Because if you're talking about Olympic dreams, you need to have infrastructure which matches up to it. Unfortunately, it's a difference between heaven and hell here. If we're talking about AQI, we're talking about bird poop, which is a big health risk. And this is also a dress rehearsal for the World Championship, which is in August. So I think India should take it in the right spirit, take this feedback. Okay, getting a feedback from a player. The players are the players who play on the badminton court.
Yeah.
Take feedback from them, work on it, and make it happen. Rather than being neutral or rather than being dismissive, or rather than not even taking action on it, then I don't think India is going to really grow from here. I think India has the wherewithal, they have the infrastructure, but they really need to make it happen. You cannot have world-class players coming in and just openly telling us, on Instagram and doing a press conference telling us that infrastructure is bad, bird poop is there, which is a big health risk, and it's so shoddy, and then willing to pay money for it, which does not really reflect well on our dreams, which we are looking at. Olympic dreams, we're looking at hosting, world-class events, which we have done in the past. I think it's really important for us to take a step back and for our Indian players also not to be so neutral about it and not to be so diplomatic about it. I think when world-class players come in here, we expect them to have world-class infrastructure, which is expected, which goes the same way for India too. So I think India should really have a plan in place. They need to, I think, there needs to be accountability here. Like they say, with great power comes great accountability. There's no accountability here. We're still talking about it on the, in your show, but I think there has to be some action that to be taken, and the government has to take action on this. They cannot afford world-class players number 2, number 3 coming in and talking like this about India, talking about our sports. We also have so many young people who want to get into badminton, who want to play these sports in the future. It doesn't really augur well for all of us. It doesn't augur well for the government that you don't have infrastructure which is ready for a world, a world badminton championship, which is going to happen in August. And irrespective of whether you're holding in November, September, October, I think we should hold it any time of the year. We should be ready. We cannot blame it on the weather, saying because in Delhi the AQI is so high or the foggy conditions are so bad, we cannot host a football tournament or a badminton tournament. That really does not help.
But when you're not prepared, then make smarter choices, no? And then why are you exposing yourself when you're not prepared? Might as well make smarter choices. I remember when Trump came to India, his first visit, all the nook and corners of Delhi were spick and span. All the dividers were beautified, and just to give that oomph factor for Delhi, everything was done. It was quick fix. It was done weeks before Trump's arrival. Trump came and saw a fantastic, fantabulous, beautiful Delhi, and then he went to for the Welcome Trump event in Gujarat. So the government could do and turn things around in time when they wanted to. Why not now? So it clearly shows a lack of regard for sports altogether. You're just thinking of Olympics. Oh, Olympics, I'll get ready for Olympics, but all the precursor events you're not really caring for. Mahavir?
It's very, very short sighted.
Okay, I was going to come to a point when you said that there are so many things that are happening over here, that there's a people. Sorry, I'm not saying there are birds. I again come to that point that what is normal, and I again say that if you look at the budget of the event, I'm sure I won't be allowed to get the details of the budget. They would have spent a hell lot of money from them, getting in the best of the cars from airport to the hotel. They would have given them the best of the hotels. Now, but the place that they care is about the FOP, field of play. FOP, we say that in a language, is a field of play. Or, because that's fancy to us as an Indian, or as a, I'm sorry, I'm using the word Indian, as a maybe a country where these things don't come naturally to you. तुमको एक अच्छा कार चाहिए, एक अच्छा होटल चाहिए, and FOP तो चलता है. But for them, cars is okay. Hotel, you expect them to live in a sports hostel. Have you imagined the kind of money that we pay in water? I was the press attaché for Paralympics in Paris 2024 with the para games. They don't give you more than one water bottle. Bhai, if you want to drink, bhai, kharid ke pee lo. But they give you the best of and the kind of rooms that they give you are like sports hostel. Because you are a player, you are supposed to be in that way. But for us, Mehmandari, Athito Devo Bhavo is a huge, big suite room for the best player, huge, big car. But FOP chalega. For them, it is a different thing. So it is all about the mindset that we have over here, about the colonization that we have had for many, many years in our head. What they want is a great FOP, great volunteers, nice umpires, a good match. If I don't have a good accommodation, it's okay. I can still do without it. We in Paris, in the garb of in the garb of carbonization, we were given beds which were made up of paper, hard. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of that element. We were supposed to sleep on a bed which was made of cardboard. ये जो Amazon के जो बड़े-बड़े structure आते हैं, so we were supposed to, they had made a bed out of it, and there are stories, and we all went gaga over there. Wow, wow, wow! They are going for that, yeah. So what I am trying to say is, if I am a player, I need a good ground. I need a good FOP, and that is the last of the consideration that we have when we speak about. And I think,
and it's not like we don't have space. We have space. We have ample amount of space.
And I still, people who are questioning our infrastructure, please come to Delhi and see Siri Fort. Please go to Chennai.
Yes.
Please go to Bangalore.
Yes.
We have an extremely good infrastructure.
How are you in Bangalore?
It is. I should have put Badminton Association of India, Mr. Sanjay Mishra, come over here and explain what is happening. How much money have you spent on FOP, and how much money have you spent on cars and hotels, and how much money have you spent on the accommodation and movement of your officials? So you can, from the budget that you are spending on different parts, you will be able to understand where the quality is. You are best of the, I'm sorry, but still, we are still a sports watching country. We are not a sports playing country.
So true.
Because you need to change the mindset. Okay,
You know,
a Denmark player is coming, a Danish player is coming, an Indonesian player is coming. And if you repeat that bite of the male player, I think it was Shrikant, who was saying there is drift in Indonesia, there is little less drift in Malaysia. And come on, man, these are drift, these are AC drifts. It depends on the FOP. When you play inside a court in an air conditioned court, the flow of the blowers of the court define how fast your shuttle goes. So there is a drift. That is called a drift of the AC. It's okay. I am ready to hear criticism about my drift, my FOP. But birds coming and pooping, not having an international warmer, not having a warm FOP. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not able to accept it. So it is all Badminton Association
sad,
of India.
it's very sad. Okay, today, as of today, the Badminton Association's response to the international players saying that the conditions are bad is actually very disappointing. They should have basically welcomed criticism and probably said, we'll look into it. If they have a problem, we'll look into it. But instead, they blamed it on the athlete, saying it was her personal sensitivities.
I will correct you. What they do is they throw in, and this is not in one sport, this is in every sport. What they do is they throw in the medal winners for the country. PV Sindhu, Shrikant. So if it is tennis, they will put in Leander Pace and they will put in anyone. If it is athletics, they will put in some other person. So any field that you feel criticized, they will bring in the best players of them, who are controlled by Sai and who are controlled by many things, and say, no, this was good, this happens in this country, this happens in this country.
No,
so
unacceptable. The least that the Badminton Association could have done was acknowledge the complaint. Acknowledge the complaint. But speaking of governance, poor governance, we have seen India failing irrespective of what government has been in power, right? Nikhil Jain, speaking of 2010 Commonwealth Games, the scale of corruption that happened, unlivable conditions of living, it became emblematic. People all over the world were criticizing India, and the criticism was not just about bad conditions, but about how corrupt our officials were at that point, that money was swindled in the name of Commonwealth, hardly anything that was put together on the ground. So an embarrassment that it was in 2010, it doesn't seem to have gotten better, even today. But at least what we remember, the Commonwealth Games situation was, can you hear me, Nikhil? All right, we seem to have lost his connection. We're going to try and patch you back again. Shekhar Vijayan, you want to comment on that? Commonwealth Games in 2010, which was a global embarrassment for India. Irrespective of governments, we seem to have the same problem. It seems like all governments, or both Congress and the BJP, have been slightly insensitive to sporting facilities.
Absolutely, Ramila. I think more than the government, it's about intent. They're looking at it from a very myopic point of view. Okay, you want to host the Olympic, but what next after that? What kind of infrastructure do you have? I think it's about intent, it's about attitude, it's about temperament. I don't think we have the sporting infrastructure, we don't have the will or the ability to execute an event of this nature. When you have world-class players coming in, even the facilities should be world-class. Unfortunately, it's not like that. And this is irrespective of political party, whichever party is in power. I think what's really important is leadership and taking ownership, taking responsibility. And if you're getting feedback from world-class players, first of all, players don't come and give feedback. They focus on the game. If they're taking time out and giving feedback, that means something is really, really wrong with the system. Something is really wrong with the fact that the playing conditions are not good. If you have a player who's...
Look, it's also about their performance. If they are not feeling that they are able to perform to the mark because of poor facilities, and if they don't speak up, it also reflects on them. So for them, it's a status thing. It's about ranking. It's about their performance in the game. And if they're not given the conditions, fair conditions, then of course the frustration will build. But Nikhil Jain, a quick word on 2010 Commonwealth Games, a global embarrassment that it was. So irrespective of governments, the insensitivities continue.
So, Nabila, that is the point I made earlier, that we've never had a perfect system, especially when it comes to sports and sports administration. We've always had too many flaws, and that is the reason, despite a nation of 1.5 billion, despite 1/6 of the world's population, I don't think we even account for 1/10 or probably 1/20th of the Olympic medals, or we are, anywhere in any sport in the world other than cricket. So I do agree that previous governments, Congress, BJP, everybody has failed on that front. But where my problem lies with the present government is the lack of accountability. When you had these problems and concerns with the Commonwealth Games in 2010, you had the ministers being paraded day in and day out in public discourse by the media, by opposition at the time, and they were not given a very swift ride by the government of the time. The ministers had to come in front of the people and face the wrath of the people, face the criticism, try and fix things. Of course, there were a lot of corruption allegations, but at the same time, very few convictions, or I don't think a single political conviction has happened so far. So that is the point, that at the end of the day, in a democracy, we expect our political leaders, our ministers to be accountable. Here, I see no accountability at all. And let's not forget that the Commonwealth Games was 16 years ago. India's GDP was a lot less. India's budget was a lot less. We are a growing country. Things could have been much better in these 16 years. We don't have to look back to the past and say, oh, 2010,
Yeah,
this
we don't
happened,
have to repeat mistakes. I agree with you. We don't have to repeat mistakes. India is thriving. We are now the fourth largest developing economy. Our GDP has grown and we want to be Viksit Bharat. So then we've got to act it as well. Mahavir, I'll end with you.
All I want to say is 2010, it's just Commonwealth Games. Just imagine, Commonwealth Games is still a very British hangover that we have. And you just ask any Olympian. I am today in your channel, on a public platform. The facilities that we gave them for Commonwealth was much better than the facilities that we received in 2024 Olympics. So we made mistakes on many accounts. I am not still, as a federation, as a Badminton Association of India, I asked 10 crores from the government. Now, government gave me 10 crores. Now, it is up to this association where they have spent this 10 crores. I want to ask the association. I will not still put the government on the fire. I will put the association on the fire, because the government, they are giving whatever they are asking. So let's understand, the people who are governing the Badminton Association of India are the whole sole responsible of whatever shame is coming to the country. And please don't put everything on 2036 Olympics. We are a doping country which is much ahead than Russia. Russia is taking part in 95% of the sports in this world. We are not even taking part. We are not even part of the Winter Olympics. We are not part. We are just taking part in Summer Olympics. So we are, right now, the doping is the biggest thing. Right now, the federations are the biggest thing. So there are many things. Let's not blame the government. The Prime Minister is supposed to run the country. He has made a sports minister. And the sports minister has a SAI. The SAI has so many federations. So let's go into the micro thing. Money is not a problem. The federations and a vision is a big problem. The things which are normal for us are not normal. Like having a water, dirty water is normal for us. It is not normal for the rest of the world. So let's our federations get wake to this. Please focus on the sports, not on the luxuries that come with the sports.
Well said. Thanks very much. I really appreciate all three of you for joining us, shedding light on that. A quick break. We'll be right back. On the other side, an interesting story of an employee who never got a promotion or a raise for 5 whole years. He started with a base salary of 25,000, remained at that, maybe actually dipped by 2,000 at the end of 5 years. Stay with us.
इंडिया, ये तेरे लिए, तेरा नाम गूंजे, ये जिद है मेरी।
नए फैसलों के साथ तू आगे बढ़े, ये जिद है मेरी।
तेरे घर सपनों से बने, जिद छे मारी।
तेरे हर इरादे को हौसला मिले, जिद ए अमर।
जब तू बोले तो दुनिया सुने, पिडिवादम एनते येदो।
मेरी कहानी से इंडिया की कामयाबी लिखूं। जिद है साडी। जब आप अपनी तरक्की की जिद पर अड़ते हो तो इंडिया की जीत होती है। इस जिद में आपके साथ गर्व से है टाटा कैपिटल। टाटा कैपिटल, जिद तरक्की की।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
डेली मुझे कॉन्स्टिपेशन की प्रॉब्लम होती है, मैं क्या करूं?
2 स्पून काफी है। ये प्रॉब्लम दूर करने के लिए लायन डेट सिरप। इसमें आयरन, फाइबर्स, विटामिन्स, बीमारी से लड़ने की ताकत बहुत ज्यादा है। फाइबर, कॉन्स्टिपेशन से रोकथाम। रोजाना 2 स्पून लायन डेट सिरप हल्के गर्म दूध में भी मिलाकर पी सकते हैं।
लायन डेट सिरप
रोजाना 2 स्पून।
लूजर।
लाइफ हो या इन्वेस्टिंग, ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस से नुकसान भी हो सकता है। म्यूचुअल फंड अपनाओ और थोड़ी हेवी लिफ्टिंग एक्सपर्ट्स को भी करने दो।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से संबंधित सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
Welcome back. Interesting story that's really caught our attention online. Imagine this. You start your career with a base salary and 5 years later you expect growth, but instead your pay has really gone nowhere. In fact, it's dipped. This is the story that's triggering many conversations in India's IT middle class. A young software engineer says that he joined Tata Consultancy Services 5.5 years ago with a monthly salary in hand of 25,000. Today, 5 years later, he claims he earns 22,800, less than where he really began. He got no layoff notice. There was no real controversy around him or his performance, just that he wasn't doing that well, so they kept him stagnant. Many unanswered questions, of course. In a country where careers are expected to move only forward, this account certainly spells for a lot. According to his version, he came from a lesser known college. Over the years, performance ratings slipped. He was moved to lower bands, eventually placed on performance improvement plan. Appraisals had stopped, increments had frozen, variable pay had reduced, but of course inflation continued to rise. Years passed, he got no termination letter, no promotion either, just stagnation. He tried to move out, he even upskilled, he cleared interviews, he got offers, but fresh employers were a little worried. How could we hire a person who's had the same salary or even less for 5 years? And how can you have a person after 5 years of experience be treated as a fresher, an entry-level person? So he was rejected subsequently as well. TCS, though, has not confirmed this specific case. There is no evidence of company-wide pay cuts either. Most employees do get hikes, we hear, though smaller, delayed and tightly linked to performance. But this is one employee's story, not official policy. But we're not too sure if this is a little too common, something that this person has spoken about, which many may have not. It does resonate because it mirrors a larger shift. India's IT sector is no longer in its boom phase. Global tech spending is slowing, salary hikes are thinner, performance scrutiny is sharper, job switches are harder now. The old promise, loyalty guarantees growth, is clearly under strain. The debate does go beyond one company. Can a career move backwards? Can one bad rating really erase years of work? Should your past salary decide your future worth? Because when it declines, then it's not just at that current state that you're being underpaid. Subsequently, your next employers are also going to be frowning on what they see in their hand, your pay slip. Let's bring in Shubhmoy Bhattacharjee, who's a consulting editor with the Business Standard, Sanjeev Sharan, CHRO of ZTE India. Thanks both of you for joining us. Let me start with Shubhmoy. What's your take, Shubhmoy? When a professional earns lesser in 5 years, is that performance failure or is that a tactful employer trying to cut cost? I mean, how bad can a person be that you don't give them any increment?
Frankly speaking, we need more details, Nabila. I mean, this sort of a thing, I've seen the tweet and all that thing that has come out. We need to see more like what's exactly happened. I wouldn't, I was listening to you and you were making a very major point about the IT sector not being able to retain the workforce the IT sector not getting adequate number of people, laying off people. Those are, of course, substantial points. This particular case, I'll rather give it a go by. Without knowing more details, it's very difficult to say that what exactly has happened.
So
it doesn't happen that way.
It does not happen that way?
No. I mean, because I have also been in the position of being supervisor of employees. It doesn't happen that, people's salary gets cut and the person still stays on. I mean, like, what exactly is happening would be, I mean, we'll really need to know.
The person finally quit in 5 years. So, because he wasn't getting a raise. But okay, all right, let's give you a situation where you're not getting a promotion at all and you're not getting a raise. I know companies who give a 1%, 2% raise, hardly reflects on your salary. And a lot of times, your promotion is also based on your equation with your bosses. Even if you're a good performer, your immediate boss may not think or may be threatened by you and won't push you up. And when appraisals feedback come, it's your bosses ultimately who is giving feedback and decides how much to give, how to allot among the team members. Personal grudges are a fact. And a lot of people continue to suffer silently.
Yeah. And there are also cases among a few million government employees who do not perform and yet get handsome salary raises. We are just getting the position of 8th Finance Pay Commission, where people are demanding money simply because of the fact that they are in government service and are asking for handsome raises. So, it's flip side of the same coin. I think there is a problem there that that in India, while I do agree that there can be cases where, and not just in India, probably anywhere in the world, that personal bias, personal issues do come in. And obviously, HR, there's a lot of issues that do happen. I do also find that a huge, the upshot of all of these is that there's a massive fascination among people for taking up government jobs where the equation is very clear, that it's simply because I show up, and in some cases I don't even show up, but I get salary and I get fat salary and I get increment every year, and then I don't even perform. I mean, the performance is just not a part of my appraisal.
So the private sector and the government sector, two separate things. The government sector, you have employees who can snooze through the entire day and still take home a nice fat salary.
And millions.
And I think it's mostly to do with job security. Then you have pension and whatnot. But for private players, you get into the private sector because you want to grow, because you want to succeed, because you want to earn a bigger paycheck. Government employees, at the end of it, let's agree and admit, they don't earn beyond a certain threshold, right? But private sector, you hope to grow, but this story really makes our hearts go out for that boy or man. I don't know how old he is now. But let me also bring in Sanjeev on that. Sanjeev, Shubhamoy says that it doesn't happen like that, but I beg to differ. I believe that a lot of them can be put on hold and just left stagnant because the company is looking to cost cut. Don't want to admit it, but they say your performance is not good enough. So we keep you there. Now, let me tell you, these are people who are still holding the foundation for you. It's not like, what are they doing the whole day? They're working only, no? You're looking at you're observing their performance. If they were so bad, you would have asked them to leave after their year ends. But you're still keeping them on, which means they are somehow trying to spin the wheel for you. So they're still useful. Don't they deserve 1-2% hike also?
Right, Navila, thanks. And I think of this story or this incident, I would also like to park on it, because this, until unless we know the complete details, more details about it, I don't think I'm in a position to comment on it without doubting the capability of the individual or without doubting the organization. But yes, one thing is there, when there is a human. So human has two things. One is the emotion and one is the liking. So any system, we cannot say that it is that, I will not say that the chances of the biasness or the influences or liking is there or not. But yes, the larger the organizations, they have their system to protect it or reduce it kind of thing, manage it. So, and also we need to understand that when there are systems and processes, so the chances of influence or chances of liking, disliking, or the relationship will be there. But definitely, I think still feel that 80 to 85%, 90% definitely are driven by the process. So now the question is that how strong are the processes so that the 90% people are taken care of. If anybody, no organization can always say that I have 100% pure perfect setup. The best thing is that your processes should be there, that it takes care of it. So
I don't know. I feel both of y'all are underselling the real problem that persists in corporates. I think I'm an employee, and which is why I feel I've seen people who've just remained stagnant for 5 years. They've not really risen up the bar, and they're not asked to leave either because they are a cog in the wheel.
Nabila, I do not disagree with you.
Yeah, that's
but
it.
Yes,
I'm talking about, I'm not talking about the 90%, I'm talking about the 10% who suffer silently. And that number could be growing. We are a tech sector, ultimately. We are a service sector. IT industry, people dream to be part of because they can grow. But now it seems like employers are trying as much as possible to cost cut in every direction. Don't you admit that?
See, I would say that yes, the cost is not cut. In fact, you see that if you see for the last couple of years, the whole economy is now moving from the fixed to the variable structure. Slowly, the organizations, the compensation structures are going towards it, whether it is the IT, whether it is the other sectors, whether it is manufacturing, BFSI, the more focus is more on the productivity. While we as an citizen, we as an employee, we always like to have the very short fixed way. So this transition is also there. And I think the most important thing where the organization has to are now focusing more on it, or need to focus more on the strengthening their structure in the processes so that there is a transparency and there is a right measurement. The right measurement is the most important thing. And that doesn't
Sanjeev, can you tell me, Sanjeev, what can a employee do? Let's give advice now, free advice. What can an employee do if he's stuck or she's stuck in a situation like this? What can they do? And the sad part is your future employers are also going to frown looking at a pay slip that's seen no growth in 5 years. Even I'll feel awkward to hire someone at entry level. 25,000 is base salary. Okay, we won't even believe this story. Hypothetical scenario. How would you advise a person who's stuck?
I think the most important thing where we need to now get into it is that with this, every organization more or less is an IT technological organization. Whether it is your media, whether it is any other industry, it's all driven by technology. So the employees, the skilling is the in thing. You have to be skilling, and also we have to start accepting that if there is should we go for the performance driven salary structure or not. If you ask me honestly, I believe I would say the performance driven salary structures are very good if they are better variable structures are there, even if it is higher variable structure, provided there is a system also to evaluate that, then you have the opportunity to earn more. And I think suppose currently what is happening is that 10% is the variable, 90% is the fixed. Think about that, Nabila, your salary is now 70 is fixed and 30 is variable, with the opportunity to earn up to another 20%. Will you like to go for it? You will like to go for it, subject. I'm taking the opportunity to say with that, is that subject there is a very clear-cut, measurable things are there that yes, that how you can earn this 30, you can earn to 50%. So while organization has to do it, the employees also need to get into it and set their KPIs clear. Believe me, as an employee, at times what we miss out is that we do not discuss our KPI and we do not seek the feedback, nor we discuss it.
Correct.
We
I think that's the only word of advice. I will surely tell all budding employees in my profession as well. Speak up, communicate, keep your bosses engaged with communication. That way they are forced to tell you what's wrong, right? So that you can improve. Thanks very much. I really appreciate Shubhamoy and Sanjeev for joining us. A quick break. We'll be right back with all our top stories.
उछलता है दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया
दूरियां कोई अपनों में ना रहे दिल में जब उमंग हो घर है वही जहाँ सब संग रिश्तों को रंग दो दुनिया को रंग दो
Birla Opus Paints.
Irregular periods and unbearable pain. उसके लिए क्या करूं?
2 स्पून काफी है। ये प्रॉब्लम दूर करने के लिए लायन डेट सिरप। इसमें आयरन, फाइबर्स, विटामिन्स, किसी भी बीमारी से लड़ने की ताकत बहुत ज्यादा है। रोजाना 2 स्पून लायन डेट सिरप हल्के गर्म दूध में भी मिलाकर पी सकते हैं। लायन डेट सिरप रोजाना 2 स्पून।
फाइनली हमारा घर।
तुम्हारी जिद का नतीजा।
मैं नहीं होती तो तुम्हारा क्या होता?
इनकी जिद ने आज इन्हें दिया एक परमानेंट एड्रेस टाटा कैपिटल होम लोन्स के साथ।
Thanks very much. We're going to take you through all our top stories. Let's start with Zubin Garg's case. Singapore police have now told a court that singer Zubin Garg was heavily intoxicated when he drowned near Lazarus Island in September in Singapore, saying that he was likely intoxicated and jumped into the sea there without a life jacket and that nobody pushed him, effectively ruling out murder. Assistant Superintendent of Police David Lim of Singapore has said that Zubin Garg had consumed significant amounts of alcohol and repeatedly refused to wear a life jacket before jumping into the sea from a yacht. Assam police, meanwhile, have filed a 3,500-page charge sheet after months of investigation, charging festival organizer Shamkanu Mahanta and 3 associates of the singers, that's Siddhanta Sharma, Shekhar Jyoti Goswami and Amrit Prava Mahatwit, who've currently been accused of murder in connection with Zubin Garg's death. The police here in India have filed a 3,500-page charge sheet accusing them of murder. But here's what Singapore said. According to investigators, Zubin Garg and his friends boarded the yacht from Marina at Keppel Bay on September 19th while safety instructions were given, and Garg initially wore a life jacket. He later removed it, saying it was too big. Even when offered a small one, he declined. Witnesses say that Zubin Garg returned to the yacht briefly, appeared breathless and then re-entered the water. Moments later, he became motionless and was seen floating face down, with some witnesses reporting foaming from the mouth. He was pulled back on board. CPR was attempted, but he was declared dead at the Singapore General Hospital at 5:13 p.m. that day. The cause of death was confirmed as drowning by Singapore authorities. An autopsy found 333 milligrams of alcohol per 100 milliliters of blood, over 4 times the legal limit. Dr. Chan Shijia said the alcohol level would have severely impaired coordination, adding that bruises on Garg's lips and chest were consistent with CPR. No drugs were found apart from medication for hypertension and epilepsy. State Council of Singapore Sean Teh said 35 witnesses were involved there, with 7 testifying on Jan 14th. Police confirms there was no evidence of suicide, coercion or duress or murder. Garg was in Singapore for the Northeast India Festival, and his uncle told the court that he was seeking clarity on whether Garg entered the water voluntarily or not. Fresh cases of diarrhea have surfaced in Indore, often showcased as India's cleanest city. This has now really triggered huge outrage. According to the Madhya Pradesh Health Department, 5 new patients from Bhagirathpura were treated on Tuesday after allegedly consuming contaminated water. The audit report by the committee from MGM Medical College submitted to the Indore administration has raised alarming red flags, suggesting indeed that most of the deaths, 15 out of the 21 deaths that they have examined, were linked to contaminated water, that they indeed died due to excessive vomiting and diarrhea. Officials say the outbreak began on December 29th. Since then, 436 people of Indore have been hospitalized with gastrointestinal symptoms. 403 patients they've recovered and discharged, while 33 remain admitted, and out of which nearly 20 of them have died. The district administration, though, officially confirms only 6 deaths. Residents contest this number, claiming that the death toll could be as high as 23, including the death of a 6-month-old child. Authorities say 2 lakh in financial assistance has been provided to 18 affected families. Investigation continues. Big news for postgraduate medical aspirants. The National Board of Examinations and Medical Sciences has lowered the NEET PG 2025 qualifying percentile to as low as 0. This basically is because they want to fill up the vacant seats. They're allowing for more candidates to participate in round 3 counselling for 2025-26 academic session. Basically, this would mean that anybody effectively now appearing for NEET are eligible for seats anywhere in the country. The rank does not change, though. So it doesn't mean if your score is very low, you're going to get a high, a very premium sought after position in a certain specific course. It all depends on your ranking at the end of it. But this effectively will give more opportunities for people who are wanting to give their NEET exam and enroll into the field of medicine. There are other courses that maybe are not as competent that you could give it a shot. The revised NEET PG 2025 qualifying criteria applies only to counselling eligibility and do not change ranks declared in August 2025. In fact, let me take you through general and EWS categories. For general category, 50% was the cutoff earlier. It's now come down to 7%. And for EWS, 40% economic weaker sections, 40% of the cutoff that was earlier has now come to 0. That's the big change here, which is probably the first that we've seen in India. Clearly, the threshold of quality has dropped. This allows more candidates, though, to participate. The move has certainly sparked debate on merit. Bengaluru has been rocked by a horrifying case of animal cruelty. Horrifying case of animal cruelty coming to light from Bengaluru. In JP Nagar, a Nepali youth identified as Kiran stands accused of torturing and killing a stray puppy in brutal act that's captured on CCTV cameras. The footage shows him throwing the puppy over a compound wall, and then when it survived the fall, he strangled it to death. What seemed like an isolated incident has taken a darker turn here. Locals report that over 10 to 14 puppies in the area have gone missing lately. In fact, the suspicion has fallen on this man, Kiran. Authorities say that Kiran is alleged to have sexually abused the puppies before killing them, adding a sinister dimension here. Following public outrage and outcry of CCTV, the recovery of CCTV evidence and all the outrage of the public there, a formal complaint has now been filed with the police. All right, a quick look at Kerala's Sabrimala temple that's at the center of a financial scandal. The Kerala High Court has ordered a thorough probe into alleged misappropriation of funds amounting to 35 lakhs in unremitted funds by employees of the Travancore Devaswam board in a case that involves the sale of Adya Shistham ghee, a sacred offering sold to devotees, which forms a key part of the temple's revenue. A ghee scam we're looking at the Devasanam there in Kerala. A bench of justices, Raja Vijay Raghavan and KV Jayakumar, has directed the State Vigilance Director to form a team now of upright and competent officers to register a case under the Prevention of Corruption Act and investigate the full extent of the alleged embezzlement. The court termed procedural lapses such as irregular stock taking, careless record keeping and delayed remittances as not mere negligence but clear criminal misappropriation. So clearly we're looking at nearly 13,679 ghee packets worth over 13 lakhs were sold without remittance, with additional shortages pushing potential losses of 22 lakhs. Scam on temple ghee. The court highlighting systemic failure here, warning that the short time frame suggests long-term revenue pilferage, and they want a thorough probe into this matter. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great night.
With Skoda Supercare and growing network across 180 plus cities, you never drive alone.
Skoda. पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता, उछलता है, दौड़ता, कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया.
Being a chef, it's my priority to deliver taste in a plate with good presentation, unique innovation. You need to explore, you need to experiment.
You observe the people, make them happy, make them feel happy, and in the end you are smiling. That's the most important thing.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News9, English news as it should be.
Delhi battles cold wave for the 4th day with temperature at 3.8 degrees Celsius. Air quality stays very poor. The Indian Met Department warns of persistent chill. Demand for nebulizers, inhalers for children jumps to 60% in winters in Delhi. Survey links rise to worsening air quality and respiratory distress caused because of it. After high drama in the Calcutta High Court, the Supreme Court now set to hear the Enforcement Directorate's petition against West Bengal's Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee for alleged obstruction in the IPAC raids on the 15th of January. World Bank raises India's financial year 2025-26 GDP growth forecast to 7.2% after robust domestic demand and tax reforms. Growth expected to slow to 6.5% in 2026-27 amidst US tariffs. Probe report in Singapore court reveals that legendary Assamese singer Zubin Garg was heavily intoxicated at the time of drowning near Lazarus Island. Authorities say the 53-year-old icon ignored safety advice before jumping from his yacht. India urges its nationals in Iran to leave immediately amidst escalating unrest. Indian embassy warns against all travel to the country until further notice. The US withdraws troops from key West Asia bases amidst rising tensions with Iran. The move follows Iran's warning of strikes if Washington attacks. Trump pushes for Greenland, says anything less than US control of Greenland is quote-unquote unacceptable, calls the territory vital for national security ahead of White House talks with Denmark and Greenland. You are watching News 9. I'm Krishna Kumar. China has announced a record-breaking trade surplus, flooding global markets with its exports and signaling both economic strength and growing global imbalances. China's trade surplus surged to $1.19 trillion in 2025, a 20% increase from the previous year, according to the General Administration of Customs in China. The figure marks the largest trade surplus in history, even after adjusting for inflation. For December alone, the surplus hit $114 billion, driven by booming exports to the European Union, Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. While tariffs imposed by the US reduced China's surplus with America by 22%, Beijing offset those losses by increasing exports to other regions, sometimes bypassing US tariffs through Southeast Asian routes. China's weak currency and domestic policies promoting self-reliance and import substitution have also fueled exports. Meanwhile, domestic demand remains weak due to a housing market crash, deflation, and reduced consumer spending. Deputy Customs Director